you want to learn how to make a muse dash chart. But the guides leave you scratching your head, and before even using the editor, you need like 15 programs, and the BMS is whatever this mess is. Luckily, I have the methodology for you. A whole series of comprehensive guides that get you through everything you need to know for charting. This is the first video that'll go over setting up all the files and the programs that you need, as well as learning a little bit about the BMS. We won't be starting a chart today or learning any of the rules for charting. Yay! For anything related to customs, you need DLC. Yay! Before downloading or setting anything up, I recommend joining the MDBMSC Discord. They have a lot of good resources to help you, and they can probably troubleshoot much better than I can, or give you a lot more troubleshooting information than I can in this video. All the resources, including the Discord server and anything else I mentioned, will be either in a Google Drive or linked below in the description. There's 4 main programs that we need to set up. We need to make sure that we have 7-Zip, Audacity, Circle Cropper, and the BMS player set up. For 7-Zip, just look up 7-Zip download and get the best option that works for you. If you have another program that you use for zipping or extracting files like Winrar, that'll work as well. I just find 7-Zip the easiest to work with. Next, we're going to set up the cover. For the music file and the cover file, I recommend using the ones that are in the Google Drive, as that's what I'm going to be using in the next video. But you can use whatever music you need to if you're trying to set something up as well. We're going to use this godly website right here. All we need to do is go to the upload image, choose the file that we need, which is the cover we're going to use, and then we expand it to the size we need, crop it, and download it. And that is literally it. The only thing we need to worry about is making sure that we rename cover modified, or whatever the file name is, to just cover.png. Now that the cover is all done, we're going to work on offsetting the music. We're going to use Audacity for this. Once Audacity is open like this, there's a few things we need to try and focus on first. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit this gear right here, and we're going to change it to beats and measures. And then down at the bottom, we're going to change this to beat bar tick. We're going to do the same thing for the selection part too. Now before we can put the music file in there, there's one more thing that we need to change, and that is the tempo or BPM field at the bottom left. For this song specifically, the BPM for this is 135. If you're using a different song, there's a lot of different ways you can find the BPM. Most times you can just look it up and find it. If you aren't able to find it, or there's BPM changes that are in the middle of it, I would ask someone for help in that case. The only other thing I would check right now is make sure that this snap is disabled. The snap will interfere with us trying to offset in a little bit. Now that we have all the settings configured and the BPM set up, we can actually try and offset the music. So all we need to do is just drag in the music file and it should load by itself. Now for the tricky part of this. We actually need to line the bars up with the beats of the song. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in on kind of the beginning of the song here. And we're going to look for these really clear peaks. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go somewhere around the 2, select, and we're going to change that to 1 to line it up. And then we take the peak that we found, we move it to line up with that 2. And then we zoom in, and to get it as accurate as possible, we line it up with the big peak or where we think the offset would be good. And so now what we'll notice if we zoom out is that a lot of these beats, or these really strong big peaks, are lining up with a lot of our numbers on the top here. If everything is lining up like this, you've done something very correct. If they're not lining up, we either chose a bad peak or your BPM is wrong. Now that we're finished offsetting it, what we can do is we can go up here and zoom out. And then we can go up here to File. And then we're going to hit Export Audio. Export to Computer. This is where we actually need to export the file. And we need to change this to an OGG file, or OGG Vorbis. And then for the name, we need to change this to music. And then for any of the other settings down here, honestly, it really doesn't matter. You can change the hertz. You can change the quality. Like, I use 10 because I like how my music sounds. And then you can export. And that'll just appear in whatever folder it exports to. And that's it. And so you might think that's the last thing that we got to do with Audacity, right? Nope. Unfortunately, we have one more thing, and that is setting up our demo file. This is the loop that plays when you're hovering over the song in the menu. And so what we need is a section with high energy, usually one that repeats, and we need the fade in and fade out. So setting up a demo file can be a little tricky because you kind of just have to click around, usually just near the end, and just kind of search for a hook to the song. And so what you're going to do is you're going to find a part. I like to add a little bit of a transition, and then I just search and search and search until I find kind of the whole part that I want. Usually 10 to 20 seconds. And then we're going to hit Control I, and that'll cut everything around your current selection. You can delete the two sides, and you can move this track back to the beginning. And then what we need to do is add the selection at the beginning, about a bar and a half, and then go to Effect, add the fade in, and then we're going to select the same thing on the other side, and then we are going to go to Effect and fade out. You can then just play through it, kind of skip through, listen to the fade in, fade out, and see if you like the demo. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to export this as well. So all we need to do is go back up to File, and then hit Export Audio, Export to Computer, and it's the same settings, we just need to change it to Demo this time. And then Export. And so now you must be thinking, surely we can start and get into the BMS, right? The last thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the entire file that you need for your chart. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this template and we are going to extract it just to template folder. And then we're going to rename it to our song name. And then we're going to take the three files that we need, or the three files that we made, and we're going to drag those in and replace the three files that are inside. And then we're going to go into the file, and then we are going to now go over the info file. You can use any text editor, I just use Notepad++. This contains just all the display information for in-game. So for example, the title, who made the charts, the difficulty, all that kind of stuff. So the name is straightforward, all we need to do is change this to the title of the song. In this case, it's Mint Blue Girl. The short version of name romanized is that non-English songs are translated to English. The author is the artist of the song. The BPM is 135. Scene, you'll have to figure this out in the BMS, but all of the scenes have a certain ID. In this case, the song sounds like Candyland, and so we're going to use scene 5. The level designer is your in-game name or whatever name you want to use for charting. The first one is a general level designer for the whole charts, and then the 1, 2, 3, and 4 refer to the difficulties. 1 being easy, 2 being hard, 3 being master, 4 being hidden. We're then going to skip down to the search tags in the hidden area. And so the only one that's important is the hidden BMS message. This just appears when you change the hidden difficulty. For the search tags, you can just get rid of all these. If you want to add search tags for the song, you can. And so for the difficulties, difficulty 1 is the easy. Difficulty 2 is the hard. Difficulty 3 is the master. And difficulty 4 is the hidden. The important one is difficulty 2 because this is going to be the default that we use in our file. Last thing we're going to do is get the UMBPlay working and the BMS opened. For this, the first thing that we need to do is go up to MDBMSC, and then we hit 7-zip extract. And then we're going to go into there. And then we go into UMBPlay fix, and we are going to run the UMBPlay fix as admin. Run it as admin or else. Now to be able to open the BMS, what we need to do is we need to go to our song file. We need to find map2.bms, go up to open with, choose another app, and then what we're going to do is we're going to click more apps. We're going to check always use this app, and then we're going to look for our MDBMSC. Once you go to the directory you have it extracted, you're going to hit this exe file. And now just hit open, and now all .bms files should just open in this format. Yay! So this is our BMS editor. This is where you will spend way too many hours trying to chart anything that you want to chart. And so the first thing that we need to look at is this sidebar on the right. We're going to look at this header section first. This is basically the same as the info file. There's only 3 important ones you need to worry about. If you want to fill in the other ones, it's fine. We just need to worry about the scene, the BPM, and the note speed. I'm not going to go over everything specifically up here, We can see we have all the IDs next to the scene. We're going to go with Candyland. The BPM for this song is going to be 135, and the note speed will be 2. Next up is the grid section. This decides the timing of all the notes that you place. The two common ones are 16 and 24. If you're a beginner and the song goes outside of either of these two grids, I would ask someone for help or give up on the song for now. There's 3 checkboxes you should always hit when you first open the BMS. This is the horizontal view, and then you're going to go down to advanced, and you're going to hit the MD note icon and only MD note. I would find this little arrow at the bottom of all your notes and see if you can expand that box all the way down to the bottom, just so you can see everything, and then get rid of this little horizontal bar because it's annoying. The next thing that we're going to talk about is this toolbar all the way up here. There's only a few really important ones that are up here. For example, we have this area, which is your tool section. Starting with this first one, this one's useless, don't use it. The second one is the select tool. You can drag, you can select stuff. And then the pencil is your place. So if you grab some notes off the side here, we can grab some different types and place it down. And then the next section is your playing section. So this plays it from the very, very beginning, no matter where you are. The red one stops it. And that middle green one will play it from wherever you are in the chart. That's the one that you'll use probably the most often. So then what we can do is we can go back to the select tool. We can select all this stuff that we just put down. We can delete it. And then there's one more thing that we really need to go over, and that is the NT button that you see up here. This is for holds specifically. And so if I grab a hold, I take the pencil and I drag it, you can see that it drags out the hold and I can see its hold duration. The last thing we're going to talk about is making a note with a heart over it, or attaching a heart. So we can take any notes, make sure the note that you placed is selected. And all you need to do is go up to conversion and then hit the hidden note to visible note. And then a heart should appear over the note. The only weird thing is if you do the playback, you will not hear notes that are hidden. A little bit of troubleshooting. At the beginning here, there's this music note. You can also find it on the side here. In case you delete it, your music will not play at all. So make sure you have this. Yay! This was purely a setup video. The next video in the series is going to go over actually making your first chart and what rules to try and follow. There'll be links to written guides and other things that can help you in the description and in the description of the next video. The biggest thing about charting, if you want to learn how to chart, is to just do it a lot and really don't give up. We have a lot of people in the community that are willing to help, and me especially if you reach out to me on Discord, which is also in the description. Always remember, learn the basics, ask for help, and you can become a great charter in the future.